Hello everyone, welcome. We are in my kitchen today and I've got my gloves on, which probably means we're doing something kind of gross, which is exciting. So, up by the Seven Circles garden, I was there at around 7 a.m. this morning to water because we've been in that big heat wave. So this is like August 20th or something like that. And I noticed a bunch of little owl pellets going up the little road there under the eucalyptus trees. And Miss Carol, roommate teacher Miss Carol, said that she'd been seeing a bunch of owl pellets from a barn owl. So I went and I was hoping I'd see the barn owl. And I walked up and I followed the owl pellets. There was one, and then there was another one, and then there was another one, and another one. And at the very last one, which is actually, it was extremely fresh. This is the fresh one. There's a bunch of poop. And I said, I bet you the owl's here. And I looked up, and sure enough, there she was. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous little beauty. She was probably about this big, and her face and her belly were all white, but the back of her is brown. So I'll insert some pictures of barn owls. And she was way up in the tree. I couldn't quite tell if she was just looking down at me or if she was sleeping. But I kind of sat there and watched her for a bit. And then I thanked her for her owl pellets so I can show you guys the owl pellets. So what is an owl pellet? Owls are carnivores, right? They eat things like mice, rats, maybe lizards, maybe small birds, little critters, right? And what they do is they eat them whole, but they can't digest the bones and the fur. So they kind of puke the bones and the fur up into these little chunks, these little pellets. Now they kind of look like poop. They also kind of look like, if you have a cat, you would know like what a hairball looks like. It definitely looks like that because it's essentially what it is. It's hair and bones. So I brought, I think 3 or 4 home today. So we're gonna open them up, see what we can find, and see if we can kind of piece together what kind of animal we think the owl has eaten. Okay, so I've got an owl pellet here. I'm gonna start opening it up really gently because there might be a skull in here and I wouldn't wanna like break that apart. Oh, sure enough. Ding, ding, ding. Oh my goodness, it's the tiniest little skull you ever did see. Absolutely so tiny. You know, I am wearing gloves, but I might honestly have to take my gloves off because I can't quite get a great, oh, I found another skull. Wow, this owl pellet has 2. Oh, this is a beauty. It's a beauty, beauty, beauty. Okay, let's see if you can see what I'm doing. So these 2 orange pieces in the front are the teeth, the long teeth of a rodent. And I am gonna try and pull off this fur. So what I'll probably do, because this will take me a while and I've got to whip out my old toothbrush and like really scrub in there, is I will just show you kind of the beginning of this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then I'll go in, clean it all up, and then I'll come back to you to show you exactly what I found. But look, we're really starting to see this little skull. So just by looking at this, obviously this is not a lizard. This is probably a little rat or a little mouse, probably a little mouse because of the size of it. Absolutely so incredible that the owls can just eat it and then puke it up. Are you okay? We're pausing here. Maybe I cut the video. You okay? Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're back. And okay, look at that. So we've got the bottom teeth. Let's see. Bottom teeth right here. There's 2 of them. And then the top teeth. And then those big holes there are the eye sockets. So I'm gonna clean this one up, get you a closer view of it on like a white paper so you'll really be able to see it. Oh my gosh, and look. This one's really covered in a lot of thick hair, so I'm gonna have to really clean that. But another skull. This owl's been eaten well. And then this tiny little baby skull. I don't know I don't think I'll be able to get it apart without really destroying it, but oh my gosh, look at this. Again, I don't know if you'll really be able to see much until I clean it up. This is just a little jaw. Let's see. It's a little jaw, a little tooth, a bunch of little teeth. Okay, we'll focus in on that, put that in that special pile. So basically, I'm gonna open up the rest of these, clean them up, and then I will be back to show you what I found. So what I have done is I pulled out all the little bones that I could find. This kind of looks gross. And I popped it in a bowl of warm water with soap, just to kind of get the last bits of fur off. You can see that's a skull floating, and that's a skull floating, and all these down here are like little bones, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna go in and pull out each little bone, see if I can just scrub it with an old toothbrush, and then I'll lay it out on a little thing to dry. I'm also probably going to use some isopropyl alcohol to totally disinfect it, and then of course my kitchen area. And then I will show you what we find. Right, so everything has been scrubbed, and this is what we're left with. It's a clean bowl of water with the bones in it. I'm going to strain them out and then put in some 70% isopropyl alcohol to disinfect, and then I'm going to show you the actual bone. Right, so this is the majority of the bones that I found. I didn't pick out all of them because some of them were so tiny that it was difficult, but let's go through them. So we've got clear 5 skulls. None of them are fully intact. This one is the most intact, but it's missing a bit of its actual skull there. And look at those big front teeth, orange. You can see on the underside, those right there are teeth. You can see where teeth would be. The other side. Super cool. So 5, you can see the different sizes too. That one is much bigger than this little guy. I mean, this one's also only half, but you can still tell by the eye sockets that this one's a lot smaller. And then these are all lower mandibles. So these are the lower parts of the jaw. So this is the top part, and then these other bits would sit underneath it. And you can see that that bright orange thing, let's see if we can zoom over here, is a tooth. And look, I love this piece. This is so cool. Look at all those teeth. Those are the little back teeth, just like we have our molars. Those are their molars. So these are like all little rats. They're definitely are all little mice, probably. All the same. And you know, every winter I get a 1 or 2 or 3 little mice living in the compost piles. So it's clear that this is what they are. They're the common house mice, common field mouse. It was something like that when I called Lindsay Wildlife to see. So we've got a bunch of these jaws. There were a couple more little skulls, but they were so broken apart that I couldn't get them separately. Here are some separate teeth. These are a few little bits of vertebrae. Now the vertebrae are the bones that go down the neck. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna get it. That go down the neck and down the back. It's a bunch of these that look the same, and they look to me like maybe little hip bones or something really interesting. And then a bunch of these guys, little femurs, I don't know. And then these, which have like a little connector piece. Pretty cool. So that is what you find in owl pellets, a bunch of little tiny mice. Super cool. I will keep you guys updated if I learn anything more about this owl, or if I find more pellets with more interesting things. But if you're out and about, you always check the ground for things that kind of look like cat fur balls. And if your parents are cool with it, just bring a baggie when you go hiking or when you go walking, pop them in the bag, and then go home and take them apart and see what you can find. I'd love to know what you find, and if you find any owl pellets in general, and then especially if you see the owl that it's from. Long time ago, I found a ton of owl pellets, but I didn't know what kind of owl it was from. So this is super, super cool to be able to see that this is what the barn owl is eating. All right, until next time.